What's up? It's Dr. KECK of the Sports Pod, and I'm here with Maddie from Cheer Athletics, and today we're gonna go through a core stability workout, or kind of just session, okay? So we're gonna start with Maddie laying on her back, and what we're gonna do is start with the most important component of core stability, which is your breathing. So in this position, through this whole thing, I want Maddie's back to be glued to the ground. I never want her to get into this arching position here where her ribs are flaring, okay? So we want in this position where we have our ribs right directly over our pelvis, our low back is glued to the ground. In this position, Maddie's gonna put one hand on her chest, one hand on her belly, and she's going to feel herself as she breathes into her belly. You wanna see how low you can take your breath. So we're just gonna spend a little bit of time here. I want her thinking about breathing into a cylinder. So her whole stomach should be filling up. This is the first component of core stability, okay? If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm a huge proponent, whatever that word is, of core stability, of really hounding that. I think it's super important, especially in cheerleaders, as you're flipping through the air and as you're in the air pulling body positions, you have to have core stability or else injuries happen all over the place, okay? So she's just gonna be here, really becoming comfortable with sending that breath as low as she can go. And then we're going to carry this into all of the exercises that we do after this, okay? So just gonna keep on breathing. It's gonna feel weird if you've never done this before, if you're a chest breather. Here, breathing through your core is gonna feel a little bit weird, but we have to create that relationship with your diaphragm in order to create that stability throughout the core, okay? All righty. So, after Maddie's really kind of gotten comfortable with this breath here, we're gonna take it into some exercises. So what she's gonna do first is raise her arms up above her head here. Perfect, and we're gonna go into what we call a dead bug. But before we actually start the movements, I want her to continue that breath, sending it as low as she can go as she is in this position. And I'm going to step away here. Good. And before she starts the actual dead bug, we're going to make sure that she can feel the breath and that she's breathing properly. So if you look at Maddie, you can see that her belly is rising and falling. But if you're me, you can also see that she's sending her breath into her sides as well, okay? So it's full 360 expansion, not just like this on her belly. From here, maintaining that, we're gonna go into what we call the dead bug. So Maddie's gonna take her foot and opposite arm. They're going to go back and touch the ground. The core is going to stay nice and stable here. The ribs are gonna stay down, no rib flare. Will you do a rib flare for me? Yeah, so we don't want to see that, okay? Those ribs stay right over the pelvis as we, there you go into our dead bug. Good. Come this way just a little bit. Good. Good. Again, focusing on this breath here as she progresses through the dead bug. If you find that you can't go into the dead bug, so you can't do opposite hand, opposite leg while maintaining that breath and you start to flare your ribs or something like that, just regress it a little bit. Go back to just sitting in this position without moving anything, or maybe just move an arm, something that's not as taxing on the core here. That will allow you to maintain that stability throughout the core. Okay, we're gonna do 3 more. 1. So nice and slow. Again, her back is glued to the ground this whole time. She never wants to get into that rib flaring position, which would then lift up her back from that ground. Okay, next we are going to go into a hollow hold, okay? So there's a couple different variations of this. You can pick the one that's best for you. If you're doing the advanced hollow hold, the normal hollow hold, you're going to go arms above your head. Yep, and she's pulling into this hollow hold. Her low back, again, is glued to the floor. If your low back cannot stay glued to the floor, we're gonna go into a regression. For our first regression, we're just going to bring our legs into here, keeping those arms above the head, keeping this core nice and stable, breathing into the core, low back again, flat to the ground. If you're still like, oh, I can't do that with my back flat to the ground, good news, we have another option for you. Legs go into the ground, and then we're gonna come up here. Again, low back, glued to the ground. Last regression for you, if you're still like, ooh, I really can't do it, no big deal. We're just gonna straighten one leg out, arms go behind the back. Yep. So this allows you not only to, it's a little bit even more regressed, but also you can feel your low back on your hands. So if you're a beginner, this is a perfect place to start because you really can't mess it up at all. So from here, Maddie can really feel her low back on her hands, and you can see here that she is expanding her core into my fingers. So we're just gonna hold this. We're actually going to do a minute hold right here. If you want to start at the fully progressed one, that's totally fine. Just make sure you're regressing it as necessary as that low back becomes not flat to the floor. Again, we know we don't want that flaring of the rib cage. As you can see, we are in a perfect position here. There's nothing wrong with this one. I would do this one. This one's great. Still a great workout. Okay, we are about to 20 seconds left. More seconds. And relax. Okay, so we're gonna do this again, but I want Maddie to switch her legs here. Good. If you're doing another variation of it, just keep it how it is. We're gonna do another 1 minute hold, but just a second, we're gonna take a little rest. If you're feeling like you are straining your neck a little bit, try to make that double chin, tuck your chin in a little bit, relax that a little bit. This shouldn't be a neck exercise. We don't want to be straining the neck. And sometimes I know it can feel like you're like really jutting your neck out. So double chin, tuck it in, make it nice and flat in the back. Okay, we're gonna go in 10 seconds. If you want to do something different than you did the first time, cool, go for it. Okay, and go. Good, good. Again, Maddie can really feel her low back up against those hands. Hopefully she can feel it expanding into her hands as well, expanding low here. Good, I don't know if you guys can see that, but she does have some great expansion going on here. What I was talking about with the neck, Maddie's doing a good job of just relaxing it. And we are halfway there. Good. You should think of it, if you're doing this one or one of the, really any of them, you should think of it as having strings attached to your shoulders, and those strings are being pulled straight up. So it's less of a crunch and more of a raise. Okay, so you're just raising, pretend you're raising your scapula, those shoulder blades, off of the ground, not crunching. Crunching is no good. We don't want to crunch. 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, relax. Good, okay, the next thing we are going to do is what we call the bird dog. So you may be familiar with this exercise, maybe not. Again, there are progressions and regressions of this exercise. I'm just going to have her demonstrate what the actual bird dog is, and then I'll talk about regressions and progressions. So what we're going to do, it's basically an upside down dead bug, okay? So here, she's going to, again, focus on keeping that core nice and stable, sending her breath deep into her core. And then she's going to take this arm and this leg and raise them up. Good. So this is that's the bird dog. If you can't do that without a lot of shifting, so I want you to do one where you like shift your torso all over the place. Yeah, so see how she's kind of like all over the place? If you can't control this, then just go to moving just an arm. Just move one arm, yeah. Or just move one leg. There's no harm in doing that. You gotta start somewhere, right? Okay, so because I can, I'm going to set this on Maddie's back, okay? So if her bird dog is perfect, or close to perfect, this won't move as she moves through her progressions, okay? So go ahead and start. really thinking about that breath as you go. Good, extend the leg out. You can straighten the leg. Good, perfect. Maintaining that stability throughout the core. Good. So if Maddie were, I want you to keep going, but if Maddie were to be doing this and this thing is like flying all over the place, that's a sign that you have way too much movement going on throughout the core or the trunk here, and you should regress it just a little bit. You can also, like if you don't have anything to put on your back, just pretend you're trying to hold a marble right between, like right at the end of your back, okay? Kind of where those bony parts are on the hips, that SI joint. That's where I want you to put the marble right between those things. And we're going. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take a break. We're gonna take a little break and we're gonna do that again. So 2 sets of 1 minute, and then we'll move on. How's it feel? Where do you feel it?
Low.
Okay, core. Good, good. Okay, are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
We are going again. Let me get my, okay. I'm gonna put it lower this time, make it a little more difficult. Good. Maddie's pretty good at this, which allows her really to focus on how that breath is working as she does this. Is it still there? Did she start to breathe into her chest? Is she getting fatigued? It's way easier when you do get fatigued to get a deeper breath through the chest. You think it's easier, but that's when it's important to really focus on breathing through that core. All right, we have 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, our bird dog is over. Now we are gonna go into a quadruped. So quadruped position is just basically the bird dog position, okay? From here, Maddie's gonna tuck her shoes under, her feet under, other way. Yep, you're right, perfect. From here, she is going to lift off of the ground just a tiny bit. Perfect, maintaining this nice stable core here. From here, we are just going to do some hand lifts. So I just want her to raise a hand. Yeah, see how her whole body moves? We don't want that. So we're gonna go for a minute. Go ahead. So no movement through here. Again, I'll just show you guys. So if I were to put this here, that one's pretty good, but then when she goes to lift the other one, she's gotta move a little bit more. Still not terrible. Our object isn't falling off, but you can definitely see, oh, that was better. There's a little bit more movement. Good. Thinking about that breath, sending it down low. Good, so those knees should be about 1 inch off of the ground here. You've got 15 seconds left. Get those hands right under those shoulders. Bring them back just a little bit. There we go. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. We're gonna do that one more time. This is gonna be the most difficult of them. If you can't lift your hands up, just try to maintain that quadruped position with those knees lifted just a little bit as you breathe through the core. Cool? That's gonna be our regression for this one. And there's a lot of progressions to this one too. But today we are going to stick with that just light pulling of the arm up. Good, go ahead. So I want you to keep those hands right underneath those shoulders, pull them back just a little bit in that steady tabletop position. So just like we did in the bird dog, if you wanted to make this a little more difficult, you could do opposite hand, opposite leg. We're not doing that today, but if you wanted to try it out, you go for it. Just really focus on maintaining the stable core. See how we're still moving a little bit through here? That's totally fine, something we need to work on. But that is an option to progress it by lifting up the feet with the hands if you wanted to. 10 seconds left. And relax. Okay, so you should go back and do another set of that. We're not gonna do that, but you should at home. You should pause it, go back, do a whole nother set of it. What were we at? Like, I don't know what that was, maybe like 10 minutes or something like that. So it doesn't take long. It's not a very hard workout, but it's gonna be super effective in the maintenance of that core stability. So if you have any questions about this or anything else, go ahead and contact us on Instagram at The Sports Pod, or you can find us online to book an appointment at www.thesportspod.co. You can find myself on Instagram at Dr. KECK, and you can find Maddie on Instagram at
CA_Madeline Marie.
CA_Madeline Marie. Thanks, guys.